So I give dating coaches quite a lot of flack here on my channel, and it's because I believe they deserve it. Um, I have seen and experienced personally the harm that can come from bad advice from dating coaches, especially those that have very large platforms. But really, the industry as a whole, I really believe is harmful. However, that doesn't negate the fact that every now and again, a dating coach gives brilliant advice. And I want to also be cognizant of giving credit where credit is due. And so it's a beautiful day here in Ireland. It's warm, it's sunny. I've just had dinner. I'm home from work. I'm relaxing. And I thought it would be a great time for me to share a really brilliant piece of advice from a dating coach that I saw. And this dating coach's name is Leigha Lake. And I read a lot of her stuff some years ago. She was someone I always admired, and I thought that she had a really brilliant way of delivering advice. But I have to admit, there was a time when I was particularly susceptible to the type advice that she was giving. And I don't agree, these days, I don't agree with everything that she says. I think, like almost all dating coaches, she has a tendency to get it wrong at times. But I think it's worth pointing out that in this particular post, which she put on Facebook, she's really, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, she's really hit the nail on the head. And of course, I'm no expert. I'm not a mental health professional. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a therapist. So I just want to make that clear. The viewpoint that I share in these videos comes from my own experience, and it's my own opinion and my own perspective. And I'm always open to hearing what other people have to say and to share. So please feel free to let me know what you think about the advice. But I think because of the journey that I have walked to overcome a lot of the issues that I have faced in my life and the many challenges that I walked through, during the time that I was dating and having relationships, and to the point where I'm now, where I'm in a very successful, when I say successful, I mean it's a very happy, contented, safe relationship that I feel very secure in. And actually, my relationship now is so good that I believe I could, even if it were to disappear, even if I were to walk away or he were to walk away or the relationship were to end for some reason, I would be okay. And I wouldn't be going to the depths of despair the way that I used to in the past. And so I just feel the fact that I'm a person who has gone through all sorts of vulnerabilities and hurts and challenges, and I've gone through the full range of experience when it comes to following dating coaches and realizing which parts of the advice were harmful. I think it gives me a pretty good insight into some of the advice that is dispensed when I look at dating coaches and their content. And when I think of good advice, I judge it against the relationship that I'm in, which I believe is a very good relationship. For me, that's my yardstick, because my relationship ticks so many of the boxes that I think any good relationship should tick. There aren't things that I'm constantly having to say, oh, well, I need to excuse this sort of bad behavior, or I'm not constantly having to rationalize with myself. I don't feel anxious in my relationship. I trust my partner. He trusts me. We respect each other. And so I really use that as my yardstick to assess dating advice that I see. And then, as I say, I am no expert. I'm just an ordinary person. But I do know, based on my experience, what a good relationship should be and what it should look like. And I do know how a good partner should treat you because I've experienced that. I've experienced being treated wonderfully by a partner, like my fiance treats me now. And I've experienced being treated awfully by a partner, really abusively. And I've had all kinds of relationships in the past. So I really feel that I can spot the hallmarks of both a good and bad relationship. And so that's the perspective that I'm bringing to this particular discussion. So let's have a look at Leigha's post on Facebook, and I'm going to offer my commentary as I read it. I'm going to offer my commentary on why I think this is such good advice and why this is the sort of, if we're going to focus on any sort of advice from a dating coach, this is the sort of advice we should be honing in on and emphasizing. And all the other garbage about strategies and tips and tricks and methods and mindsets and all that kind of thing, I'm not going to say it's all nonsense. I think most of it is nonsense. But all of that is really meaningless if you are not with the right person, if you're not in a healthy relationship dynamic. And this is what I think Leigha points out so brilliantly in this Facebook post. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at the post. Just going to pull it up here. Bear with me. Okay. So this post from Leigha Lake is called How to Know If Your Relationship Can Be Saved. And I think it's great that she's given it this title because of all the dating coaches that I have, whose content I've consumed over the years, there seems to be a common thread amongst a lot of the advice. And the same question tends to come up over and over and over again when people seek the advice of dating coaches. And I think it's because deep down, people just want a definitive answer about, is this relationship worth my time? Should I walk away? Am I wasting my time here? Should I keep fighting? And I think that even that question can actually be applied to a lot of different areas of our lives. And so I think a lot of the time that's the crux of what dating coaches try to answer. And I also think it's the crux of what they capitalize on in order to make money from their audiences. So much of the products and packages and coaching programs and classes, etc., books, all that kind of thing, are geared towards helping people to navigate really difficult, even toxic relationships or situations with a romantic partner. And so rarely do dating coaches boil the relationship down to its simplest form, which is actually what Leigha is doing in this Facebook post, and which is why I think it's so great. Because if you just focus on this advice alone, you probably could save yourself thousands of dollars, investing in coaching programs and classes and books, etc., because this is really the heart of the matter as far as I'm concerned. So she says, how to know if your relationship can be saved. Oh, sorry, if I didn't make it clear, Leigha Lake is a dating coach. She was also trained by Rory Ray, and she's become very successful. I think she's one of the better relationship coaches or dating coaches to emerge from Rory Ray's coaching program, in my opinion. As I say, I don't agree with everything that she right. I don't agree with all her advice. She does tend to be heavily focused on law of attraction, manifesting type advice, which I don't really believe in. But each to their own, and I I think her advice is perhaps not as harmful as some of the other dating coaches that I see. And as I say, this Facebook post I just thought was brilliant. So she says, when a woman comes to me and wants to know if there's anything she can do to make her marriage better or if she should cut her losses, there's an easy way for me to tell if the dynamic is fundamentally healthy or not. If it's fundamentally healthy, then yes, absolutely. If it's not healthy, then that's a big nope from me. I have a zero tolerance level for bullshit in relationships. I think most people should raise their standards for what they're willing to tolerate. And I have to say, on this point, Leigha and I are 100% in agreement. I personally, and again, this is just my own perspective, but I personally believe that a massive part of why people struggle in relationships is because they tolerate too much bad behavior. They just tolerate too much from other people. They don't walk away when they should. They excuse disrespectful, degrading, demeaning, unloving, uncaring behavior in a partner, and then find themselves in difficult or even toxic relationships later on. And people end up bargaining with themselves, should I forgive this behavior? Should I overlook this? Am I being too unreasonable? Am I asking too much? All this kind of thing. When really it's about loving ourselves. It's about loving ourselves enough to say, hang on a minute. What do I consider to be loving behavior towards me? Forget about what this other person is or isn't doing. What does love look like to me? If I'm a person who claims to have complete, love and respect for myself, how do I want to be treated? And is this person meeting that standard? And if not, that is not something to be taken lightly. That's something to really, really take seriously. It's your whole well-being is on the line. And so I 100% agree. People should raise their standards, not just by a little, but by a lot when it comes to the kind of treatment that they require from a partner. And again, I think I should just clarify, when I talk about raising your standards, I'm not talking about raising your standards for how good looking a person should be, how much money they should make, what kind of gifts they should buy for you, their social status, all this sort of nonsense. I mean, people should massively raise their standards for being respected and cared for and loved by their partners. What our standards should, what that should look like. We should be raising our standards much, much higher, and saying, I will only surround myself with people who care about me, are loyal to me, are trustworthy, are respectful, who treat me with empathy and gentleness and kindness and love, and who value me and make me feel special, all that kind of thing. So then she says, it doesn't matter how much self-development a woman has done, how much law of attraction she practices, or how much she leans back into her feminine energy. Remember, we spoke about leaning back in my video about Adrienne Everhart. These feminine energy dating coaches love to talk about feminine energy and leaning back as if and they talk about it as if that's the solution to all dating and relationship problems. And the truth is, it just really doesn't matter if you're with the wrong person. If you're with the wrong man, it doesn't matter how much feminine energy you have or how much you lean back, it's not going to change who he fundamentally is. Um, oh, excuse me. She says, a man will show up empowered or not. He'll either fundamentally place himself first as a priority, in other words, a selfish man, or he'll naturally have his partner's happiness as a focus and priority. A man's natural tendency to place himself as the priority rarely changes. I would not hold my breath. And by the way, the same goes for a woman. If a partner is fundamentally self-absorbed and selfish, if they fundamentally place themselves before their partner at all times, and they don't understand the concept of a team and of compromise, and even like a little bit of sacrifice at times. It should all come from a loving place, but yes, it's being a team. You have to understand that it's the team that's important. And yes, of course, you as individuals in the relationship are also important, but there has to be a willingness to put your partner first sometimes, and there definitely has to be a strong sense of caring about their well-being. And if someone is fundamentally unable to do that, if they only ever care about themselves, then you are on a hiding to nowhere with that person. Your partner needs to prioritize your happiness and well-being, and that needs to be important to one's partner. So then she says, relationships are not complicated. And I think this is a really important point to make, because when you're with a partner who values you, respects you, loves you, trusts you, wants to be with you, commits to you, wants to see you happy, wants to work with you to build a life where you're aligned in your goals and your values, and you're working towards the same thing, and you're going in the same direction as a team, and you're lifting each other up and supporting and encouraging each other, then relationships are not complicated. They're simple. They're easy. They don't cause you angst or strife. They just act as this wonderful support network for your life, or this wonderful support kind of safety net, or this. Yeah, your partner should be your support system. They should be they should make you stronger, and they should enable you to achieve more. They shouldn't be a detriment to your life. And I think that's why so many people call their relationships complicated, and why so many people have so much difficulty and trouble. It's because they're in relationships where two people are fighting against one another. They're not swimming in the same direction. They want different things. They have different priorities. They don't care enough about one another. And when I say care about each other, you might care about someone, you might even love someone, but if your actions are not demonstrating how important this person is to you, then, you're going to have a terrible time in that relationship. And as I say, where you have two people who truly want to see each other succeed and be happy, the relationship flows smoothly. It really, really does. I would never have believed it until I got into a relationship that is just like that. So then she says, people show you who they are right away. Your job is to believe them. Unfortunately, most people dismiss the red flags they later say they saw early on. This is 100% true. It's our tendency to minimize those red flags and those early warning signs, our tendency to make our feelings of discomfort less important, and to gloss over those early signs that someone is selfish or not good for us, or won't be a good and loving partner. That's what gets us into trouble. Um, because people are showing you who they are all the time. And most people are either not noticing, or when they do notice, they're saying, oh, well, that's nothing. It doesn't matter. But it does matter. It really does matter how someone treats you. So then she says, how does your partner respond when you make a reasonable request? This is a fantastic question to ask. How does your partner respond when you make a reasonable request? And if you want to test whether the request is reasonable or not, ask yourself how you would feel if your partner made that request of you and how you would react, or how you think a partner. Think of a couple who has a good relationship, and ask yourself how you think the two people in that couple would respond to the request. If you try to really look at it objectively to see, is this a reasonable request? And then see how your partner responds to the reasonable request. So then Leigha says, there are only two options here. He'll either make your request seem unreasonable and turn it around on you, or he'll see your request as reasonable and do what he can to fulfill your desires. Now, how many of us have been in relationships in the past where we make a perfectly reasonable request and our partner turns the request round on us and makes us feel small, inadequate, wrong, bad, whatever you want to call it, for making the request? They somehow accuse us of being a terrible or wrong person for making the reasonable request. And reasonable requests should not cause fear or anxiety in a relationship. You should be able to talk about your feelings. You should be able to broach even difficult subjects without fear in a good relationship. You should be able to make reasonable requests and have mature, calm discussions about issues in a good relationship. And if the idea of even making a reasonable request to your partner fills you with dread or fear, or you don't know how they're going to react, or you're scared that they're going to make you wrong, or that they're going to try and weasel out of it, or that they're going to attack you in some way, then that is a very bad sign. And that is not a relationship that can be salvaged, in my opinion, and in Leah's opinion as well, it seems. So then she says, the way your partner responds tells you everything you need to know as to the health of your relationship and what the future holds. You. Hey, I'm not comfortable with you going out to drinks with your female coworker after work. It doesn't matter how innocent it is. If it makes you uncomfortable, you have a right to speak up. Absolutely, 100%. If you are uncomfortable with something, if something doesn't sit right with you, you have every right in the world to talk to your partner about it. Your partner is meant to be your teammate, your biggest cheerleader, your confidant, your best friend. Basically whatever term you want to use to describe your partner. And yes, I realize there are all kinds of different relationships and marriages in the world, and some relationships might be closer than others, but your partner should fundamentally be someone that you feel comfortable talking to and that you feel safe broaching subjects that are weighing on you. I can honestly tell you, I have absolutely zero fear talking to my fiance about anything that I have any sort of strong feelings about, because I know that he'll listen to me. I know it's safe to do so. I know he'll hear me out. He'll try to understand. We might not always agree 100%, but he will definitely do his best to see it from my point of view. And I know that he wants me to be happy. He wants me to be comfortable. So he'll take whatever action he can to help me, to feel better about it and for us to get on the same page again. So the first scenario, she gives an example, and in the first scenario, the woman says she's not comfortable with her partner going out for drinks with a female coworker after work. And he says, what? So you don't trust me? Is that it? His response has more to do with him, and he's showing you he cares about himself more than you. Exactly. In this, if he responds this way, he's deflecting the blame onto you, saying you don't trust me. He's completely disregarding her feelings and saying, I'm not even willing to look at your feelings. It's all about me. You don't trust me. Okay, so then Leigha says, this relationship will never be the relationship you want or deserve. And that is 100% true, because a partner like that is either unwilling or incapable of seeing your feelings. And so you will be permanently frustrated. You'll be permanently feeling like you have to walk on eggshells, hiding any feelings that might make him uncomfortable, filtering everything that you say so that it doesn't cause him to explode or to attack you or to get defensive. You'll never feel heard, you'll never feel listened to, and so you'll never be truly valued in that relationship. Then she says, a healthy partner's response, oh, I can see why that would make you feel uncomfortable. That's an easy thing for me not to do. His response shows he cares about how you feel and will do his best to make you happy. Yes, exactly. So here again, like the difference with the first partner's response is that a man who says, I can see why that would make you feel uncomfortable, is actually making an effort to see your feelings and to listen to you and to hear you and to try to understand where you are coming from. And that is the big difference. This is someone who is attempting to value you. And this is someone who's willing to prioritize you and make you and your feelings important. So the second example is where you say, can you please stop yelling and talking to me like that? And he says, that's just who I am. Stop trying to control me. This is the man who will steal your joy, love, happiness, and health. It's better to cut your losses as quickly as possible. Right. Okay. So in this scenario, you don't like the way your partner is speaking to you. They're raising their voice. They're not talking to you nicely. And it's perfectly reasonable and rational and good not to want to be spoken to like that in a loving relationship. A relationship, as I keep saying, should be a safe place where you can flourish as a person. And if someone is yelling and speaking to you in a degrading way or in a way that makes you feel bad, it's perfectly reasonable to ask them to stop talking to you like that. And ideally, a good partner shouldn't be yelling or talking to you in a degrading way to begin with. But if they have a slip up and you say, whoa, wait a minute, you're raising your voice and I don't like how you're speaking to me. A healthy partner should be able to catch themselves and self-reflect and most of all, should be able to care about how you are feeling. So if a partner says, that's just who I am, stop trying to control me, again, they're making it about themselves and they're showing that they're not willing to look at you and your feelings. So a healthy partner's response would be, oh, sorry, I need to take a walk and cool off. He's responding positively to your completely reasonable request. And yes, I totally agree with this. If if a partner for some reason finds themselves raising their voice or being a little snappy or whatever the case may be, perhaps they got really heated up, they're in a bad mood, they had a bad day. Sometimes emotions do get the best of us. Even those of us who are good partners, it can happen. But if they recognize that they are a little bit heated up or emotional, a good partner should be able to catch themselves and do whatever they need to do to ensure that they don't keep making you feel bad, and that they take care of the situation so that you can both be okay again. Whereas a toxic or unhealthy partner is someone who really only cares about themselves. All they care about is that they want to unleash their own emotions and you happen to be the punching bag. And that's really all they care about. They don't have the capacity to stop themselves from inflicting pain and hurt on you. And that doesn't necessarily mean they're an awful person. There are some, good people in the world who really struggle with their temper, or who struggle to emotionally regulate. But such people are probably not good bets for a mature relationship, where a healthy relationship should be one where you are absolutely willing and able to temper your own behavior and to control your own behavior if it's negatively affecting your partner. So Leigha ends off the post by saying, it's the underlying energy that matters the most. Does he care about you and your feelings? Does he make an effort? Or does he care about himself more? It's really so obvious once you know what to look for. That's how you know if your relationship can be saved. If he responds positively to your reasonable request, then it is possible it can be what you want it to be. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope it gave you not only some great advice about relationships, but also a good idea of what to look for when looking for advice given by dating coaches. Is the coach trying to sell you something to make you stick it out in a toxic or unhealthy relationship? Or are they really giving you the fundamentals to help you to be able to recognize healthy and unhealthy relationships for yourself, which is what I believe a good therapist or coach, if you're going to go to a coach at all, that is really what an ethical coach should be doing, in my opinion. They should be giving you the basics so that you can really build a loving relationship with yourself, and that you can recognize a partner who is also going to love you, and likewise recognize a partner who is not going to be able to love you. So that's all for this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.